House will come to order. Today's Pledge of Allegiance is by Holly Gray from Birch Elementary in Broomfield, Colorado.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's Connor's cousin, everybody. Thank you.
All right. And Holly Gray is a guest of Mr. Randall. Thank you.
Can I give you my name so I can go to the Senate for Sherry John's tribute? Okay, I'm here. Thank you.
Representatives Arndt, Baker J, Baker K, Beckman, Benavides, Bridges, Buck, Buckner, Carver, Catlin, Coleman, Covarrubias, Danielson, Representative Danielson,
Excused.
Escar, Everett, Exum, Foot, Garnett, Garnett,
Excuse.
Janal, Gray, Hamner, Hanson, Herod, Herod,
Excuse.
Putin, Humphrey, Jackson,
Excuse.
Kennedy, Kraft Tharp,
Excused. Oh. She's actually present.
Landgraf, Lawrence, Representative Lawrence,
Excuse.
Lee, Representative Lawrence is present. Leonard, Lewis, Representative Herod is present. Lewis,
Excuse.
Representative Danielson is present. Liston, Lontine, Lundeen, McKean, McKean,
Excuse.
McLaughlin, Melton, Michelson Janae, Neville, Pabon, Pedersen,
Excuse.
Rankin, Ransom, Ryer, Representative Ryer, Roberts, Rosenthal, Sane, Salazar, Sandridge, Sias, Representative McKean is present. Singer, Thurlow, Valdez, Van Winkle, Weissman, Willett, Williams, Wilson, Winkler, Winter, Wist, Young. Madam Speaker.
Here. Here on the last Friday.
Representative Harrod is present.
Do you have the thing back to say?
Representative Bridges. Oh, I got to announce this real quick. Just one moment.
Jackson,
With 61 present and 4 excused, we do have a quorum. Representative Bridges.
Madam Speaker, I move the reading of the Journal of Thursday, May 3rd, 2018 be dispensed with the proof as correct by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you have heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed signify by saying no. All right, that motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Representative Hanson, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, and welcome everyone to our final Friday. A quick announcement, House Bill 1270 Conference Committee will meet upon adjournment in 112, room 112. Thank you.
Further announcements or introductions? Any announcements or introductions? Representative Lee is who I saw next.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for my daily trip to the well to announce Judiciary Committee changes. We have on adjournment, I believe, the Judiciary Committee will be meeting to hear House Bill 252 and also Representative Winkler's 1439. So 252 is on the schedule today.
All right, Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have checked with the Minority Leader and the Majority Leader, and I need to be excused at noon today.
Okay, you will be excused.
And
Further-
colleagues, the other announcement I have to make, just to clarify, this is not Purple and White Salida High School. It's Purple and White Southwestern College.
Further announcements or introductions? All right, I think Representative Catlin and Representative Arndt. I think for a tribute, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just one moment.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Members, we do have a tribute this morning. Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We're here today to offer a tribute to the Forest Advisory Council, and I'd ask Mr. Randall to read it at length, please.
Mr. Randall.
The House of Representatives convened in the 71st General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to the Forest Advisory Council. Colorado has nearly 25 million acres of forest lands. These forest lands, of which 2/3 are controlled by federal agencies, provide a multitude of benefits including clean water, clean air, wildlife habitat, recreation, forest products, scenic beauty, and quality of life. Stewardship of these federal forest lands is necessary for Colorado citizens to continue to enjoy the myriad values that healthy, resilient forests supply. The members of the Colorado House of Representatives support proactive management of forest lands in Colorado and encourage federal land management agencies in Colorado to provide consistent, sustainable funding over time for stewardship of their forest lands. On request of Representatives Mark Catlin and Jenny Arndt, given this 4th day of May, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I don't know if we all realize how closely we hold hands with one another when it comes to forests. You wouldn't imagine how closely an onion farmer like myself is interested in the forest health in the state of Colorado. But those forests generate the water that we put on those crops. Those forests protect us from all of those things that happen when mudslides and all those things take away that habitat. Fire. Fire is the thing that hurts us all. Fire is a terrible danger. What we're trying to do today is to talk about the Forest Health Advisory Council and the work that they've done in keeping our forests as healthy as they can with proactive operations. You know, these folks really do care. I'd like to introduce them to you, and you want to speak first before we introduce?
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you for coming today for the Forest Health Advisory Council. And they present to us in the Water Committee every summer, and they a group of volunteers, of experts that come together and help guide us in our knowledge of what we need to do to keep our forests healthy. And it's as Representative Catlin said, one of my main concerns is how the interplay between healthy forests and healthy clean water. So we want to thank you for your work. Thank you for coming. And if you ever want to visit the Colorado State Forest Service, it's in my district.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have guests with us today, and I'd like you to welcome them to the House of Representatives. Mr. Mark Morgan, please stand up. And from Morgan Timber Products and the Timber Association. I've had too much coffee. I had a bucket of coffee this morning.
I didn't have enough.
Doug Lemke from Tri-State Generation and Transmission Association. Carol Icarius, Coalition for the Upper South Platte. Colorado State Forest Service, represented by Joe Duda, Deputy Director, and Carolyn Aspelin, Poly Liaison. I've gotten to know those last two just lately, and I want to tell you that they are on point. Please welcome our guests to the House of Representatives. Thank you.
Thank you for including me.
Welcome to the chamber. Further announcements or introductions, Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, some of you have reached out and asked me how you can help with the Pueblo teacher strike that is starting on Monday. And I'm going to find out more information, but something small you can do is if you wear pink on Monday, they're wearing pink and that's their color for solidarity. If you can wear pink, let me know. We'll take a big picture. Thank you.
Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, everyone. I've got a couple announcements, and the last one will involve the Capitol Choir, so I'd ask you to make your way down to the well. The first one has to do with the fact that I'm wearing my Western State Colorado University sweatshirt today for College Day, and it relates to my request to be excused this afternoon, and I have asked the Majority Leader and our Minority Leader, and it'll be the first time in my 8 years that I've missed any floor work, and I'll be thinking of all of you, but the reason I am leaving relates to my sweatshirt. I've been invited to be the commencement speaker tomorrow morning in Gunnison, and I need to get over there. So thank you very much for allowing me to be excused. But now that we have the Capitol Choir, we have a birthday today. Representative Escar is celebrating her birthday. There she is, our lovely friend and colleague. And members, are we ready to serenade Representative Escar? We are. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Happy birthday, Representative Escar. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Breyer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My timing is lousy after a happy birthday. Hello, everyone. I'd like your attention, please.
Members.
And we're all excited about Representative Esgar's birthday. Happy birthday. But I'm taking this moment of personal privilege because my community of Swink and Lahana has had a horrific week. It started last weekend. In a matter of about 4 days, we lost 3 amazing young people in car accidents. We lost Miguel Narez, who was is in the Swink area. He's a Swink high school graduate. He was a coach, he was a mentor, he was an amazing young man. Dakota Settle graduated from Lahana High School in 2017. And Kaylee Springer, who's from Chiraw, was killed on 109, and she was a junior at Lahana High School. And the schools are 5 miles apart. It's a community. They go to school, they're back and forth all the time, so the whole area is hurting. And in 2 of those accidents, and all these accidents, they were by themselves, there were no seatbelts in play. And I always wonder, and I know for sure that there are accidents that would have made an amazing difference. So please go home and tell your moms and dads and children and teenagers that is critical. Seatbelts must be buckled even if you're just running to the corner store. Thank you. Would you please keep everyone in your prayers? And I'd like a moment of silence, please.
Moment of silence is granted.
Thank you, everyone.
Further announcements or introductions? Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, we have some very important guests here today sitting in red on the left side of the chamber. These are volunteers with AmeriCorps who are currently volunteering at 8 schools throughout Denver, about 75 members, including Cheltenham Elementary, and they are all first-year volunteers here, committing to making sure that academic achievement issues, mentoring issues, fighting poverty and sustaining parks and preparing for disasters is a part of their volunteer work. This is City Year is part of an overall organization called AmeriCorps that you may have heard of, and they have been in place for many, many years. In 1994, contributing over 1.4 billion hours in service across America, including in our own state of Colorado and our own capital city, Denver. So please stand up, our City Year volunteers. Let's give them a round of applause and welcome them to the Capitol Chamber.
Thank you so much, our City Year volunteers, for being here today and all that you do for our beautiful state. Further announcements or introductions? Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the schedule today. We're going to do special orders this morning after we hear a resolution. We will have the special orders. We will take a break, and then several committees are going to meet upon adjournment, and then we are coming back here on the floor at 1:30 and going through some of the bills that we haven't gotten to yet on special orders, and we will also do third reading in the afternoon. So with that, Madam Speaker, I move to proceed out of order for the consideration of HJR 1018.
All right, seeing no objection, we will proceed out of order for the consideration of HJR 1018. Mr. Randall, please read the title of HJR 1018.
House Joint Resolution 1018 by Representatives Sane and Neville, also Senators Marble and Garcia, concerning honoring Gold Star families.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move HJR 1018 and ask that it be read at length.
Okay. Mr. Randall.
Whereas, since the Revolutionary War, more than 1 million American soldiers have died in battle and military conflicts. Their families, who have endured these losses and the accompanying grief, are known as Gold Star families. And whereas, named for the practice of families hanging service banners in the windows of their homes with a star for each family member in the armed forces, deep blue stars were displayed for each living member serving, and they were replaced with gold if their loved one lost his or her life serving our country and protecting our freedom. And whereas Grace Darling Siebold founded the American Gold Star Mothers in 1928, her son George was serving in World War I, and while he was abroad, she channeled her worry into visiting hospitalized veterans. When the letters from her son stopped arriving and she learned of his death, she took action in her grief and with a group of mothers established American Gold Star Mothers Incorporated. And whereas, since 1936, Gold Star Mother's Day has been honored through presidential proclamation as the last Sunday of each September. And whereas the acts of heroism and the stories of courage of each fallen soldier are forever remembered in the minds and hearts of their families. And whereas while national monuments and memorials serve as strong visible reminders for the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, Gold Star families are a living legacy of each fallen soldier and can help us all remember and honor these heroes by name. And whereas, long after the battles have ended, as our stars and stripes of liberty fly, the families who have at home a folded flag and an empty seat at the table deserve our respect and our support. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 71st General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, honor the pride and the pain of the parents and partners and children and siblings of our fallen heroes and recognize the families of these proud patriots with an expression of profound gratitude and respect.
Representative Sade.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I ask that a picture of Ruth Forkum Gold be displayed. Thank you. A mother's grief has no expiration date. On February 11th, combat veterans of the 173rd Airborne Brigade and the Pikes Peak Gold Star Mothers Chapter celebrated the 90th birthday of Sergeant Gary Forkum's mother, Ruth Forkum Gold. The occasion also honored Gary's memory 50 years after he was killed in action in Vietnam. Ruth was presented with a brigade flag and a commemorative coin. While Ruth could not be with us today, I believe it is worth remembering Gary and honoring his mother, Ruth, who keeps his memory alive. For a mother's grief never expires. A mother does not move on to a new love. If she's blessed with grandchildren, she may see her son or daughter in a grandchild's smile or a gesture. 5 hours, 5 years, or 50 years does not erase those memories. That's why what we do today is so very, very important. As we honor our heroes, we can never forget the families they left behind.
Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Marine Corporal David M. Sonka, age 23 years, from Parker, Colorado, was killed in action on May 4th, 2013. While conducting combat operations in Farah Province, Afghanistan, David was a multi-purpose canine handler. His multi-purpose canine Flex was killed with him. David served 2 combat tours in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. His decorations include a Purple Heart, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, Navy Unit Commendation, Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation, Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, and the NATO ISAF Medal. David was born November 28, 1989, in Aurora, Colorado. He graduated in 2008 from Chaparral High School, and after graduation, his lifelong dream of enlisting with the Marine Corps. In 2009, he married his high school sweetheart, Tori Nicole. David was well known for his dedicated work ethic and humility, both in the canine community and in all aspects of his life. When off duty, David enjoyed spending time barbecuing with family and friends, time with his dogs, running, camping, fishing, and hunting, all alongside his wife, Tori. David was a kind and loving son and grandson who showed his love in every way. This world is a much sadder place without him. His family and friends are devastated by the loss of this wonderful young man. Members, I just want to point out again, that was May 4th, 2013. I'm sure the memory of David still sticks with his family, and I think it's rather fitting that we are doing this on this day.
Representative Sandridge.
PFC Jacob Jake Henry Wykstra, U.S. Army, killed in action 5/28/2014 in Afghanistan. Jake was born 7/14/1992, was raised in Thornton, Colorado, and graduated from Horizon High School in 2011. Growing up in Colorado, Jake loved snowboarding, baseball, football, and skateboarding. His personality was big and his talents diverse. Besides enjoying athletics, he was also a very good artist who loved to paint and sketch and liked playing his guitar. One of his best traits, though, was that throughout his life, he was known as a prankster who loved to make other people laugh. He could light up a room with his bright blue eyes and contagious smile. Even as a young boy, Jake believed his calling was to serve his country. And in August 2013, he realized that dream by graduating from the U.S. Army Infantry Training Program, where he was assigned to the 4th Infantry Division, Fort Carson, Colorado, 1st Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, Alpha Company. Because he showed a high degree of skill and aptitude as a soldier, Jake was one of a select few chosen to join an aerial reactionary force to fly on Black Hawk helicopters supporting combat missions and medical evacuations. In January 2014, Jake's Alpha Company was deployed to the Zabul province in Afghanistan as part of the Red Warriors Task Force assigned to Forward Operation Base Apache. During his deployment, Jake flew on over 30 missions, assisting coalition forces in contact engagements and medical emergencies. On May 28, 2014, at approximately 11 o'clock p.m., or 2300 hours, Jake's platoon was dispatched on a medical evac mission to rescue a wounded coalition soldier when their Black Hawk crashed, and he made the ultimate sacrifice. At Jake's memorial service at the Kandahar airfield before he was transported back to U.S. soil, his commander said this of Jake: PFC Wykstra was a great soldier, but he was an even better human being. I hold him in the highest regard as a professional soldier and as a person. His service to his nation, exemplary. His training proficiency and aptitude, the top 1%. His potential for future responsibility and leadership, without bounds. His attitude and laughter among his peers, infectious. His squad mates loved him, and he them. G.K. Chesterton's quotation best represents Jake when he said, "The true soldier fights, not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him." Never one to complain, Jake's smile and presence kept his squad and platoon's morale high. Jake's strong personality and unwavering faith helped steady his buddies in stressful or lonely times. Also a prankster and practical joker by nature, his sense of humor enabled others to laugh at him and in turn laugh at themselves in tense and anxious moments. This soldier seemed to defeat fear with his mere presence, a rarity for someone so junior in rank, but very senior in heart and courage. Now, in God's presence, I am certain Jake is smiling at all of us, pulling us into the future, challenging us to show courage and to be good people. Jake was awarded the Bronze Star, and today he rests at Fort Logan Military Cemetery in Littleton, Colorado. Plot L-1093. Jake leaves behind a loving family and a multitude of friends who remember how he always lived life to the fullest.
Representative Sandridge and Minority Leader Neville. Representative Zane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We had the bulk of our Gold Star families presentation during Military Appreciation Day earlier this year. I am so grateful to present this resolution today with Representative Neville, and I'm grateful for all of those of you who read the bios of sons and husbands who gave their last measure of devotion. It means so much to those who have been left behind. And members, you should have received a postcard on your desks for the 19th Annual Veterans Memorial Day Tribute. Every year, this Memorial Day Tribute is held at the POF Hall. It's just down the street, less than a block, and it is more beautiful every single year. The service is not only beautiful, but it's inspiring, and there are 40 or more Gold Star families that are in attendance every year. Seats for state legislators are reserved, and the families will be grateful for your measure of devotion.
The question before us is the passage of HJR 1018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying no. HJR 1018 is adopted. Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I request that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Representative Zane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I asked for a quick recess to greet our guests here today. We have American Gold Star mothers from the Pikes Peak chapter in attendance. We have Victoria Nevins. If you'd please stand up. She is the mother of SCF Liam J. Nevins. We also have in attendance Gold Star mother Pam Schaefer. She is the mother of SGT Andrew Schaefer Council. Both of their sons were lost during the War on Terror.
On behalf of the entire General Assembly, thank you so much for all that you do, and we're so sorry for your loss.
Thank you, members, for your...
With that, the House will stand in recess.
Happy birthday, Escort.
Thank you.
The House will come back to order. Reports of committees of reference.
Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the merits, the committee's following bills be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation unamended. House Bill 1430, Senate Bill 191, Senate Bill 206, Senate Bill 210, Senate Bill 259, Senate Bill 263, Senate Concurrent Resolution 4, Senate Concurrent Resolution 5. The committee also recommends the following bills be amended as follows, and as amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1060, House Bill 1102, House Bill 1195, House Bill 1351, House Bill 1423, House Bill 1434, Senate Bill 145, Senate Bill 234. The committee also recommends the following bill be postponed indefinitely, House Bill 1124. Committee on Health Insurance and Environment, after consideration of the merits, the concurrence following. House Bill 1438 be postponed indefinitely. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration of the merits, the concurrence following. Senate Bill 223 be amended as follows, and as amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 249 be amended as follows, and as amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations, favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 250 be amended as follows, and as amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations, favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 251 be amended as follows, and as amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations, favorable recommendation.
Conference committee reports.
First report of the First Conference Committee on
Conference
Senate Bill
committee
15.
reports will be printed in the journal. Printing report.
Chief Clerk reports following bills being
Printing
corrected.
report will be printed in the journal. Message from the Senate.
Madam Speaker, the Senate has voted to
Message from
concur.
the Senate will be printed in the journal. Message from the reviser.
We herewith transmit without
Message
comment.
from the reviser will be printed in the journal. Thank you, Mr. Randolph. All right. I think we need a motion for special orders calendar. Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the following bills be made special orders at 9:59 a.m. House Bill 1060, House Bill 1102, House Bill 1195, House Bill 1351, House Bill 1423, House Bill 1430, House Bill 1434, House Bill 1390, House Bill 1431, House Bill 1230, House Bill 1057, Senate Bill 231, Senate Bill 254, Senate Bill 229, Senate Bill 22, Senate Bill 223, Senate Bill 268.
All right, thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Seeing no objection, that motion stands. Representative Escar. Seeing no objection, Representative Escar will take the chair. All right.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there's a request for a reading of the bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the Majority Leader. The coat rule is relaxed, and if you'd like to dance on your way down to the well, today it's Friday, you're more than welcome to. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1060.
House Bill 1060 by Representatives Danielson and Landgraf, all Senators Crowder and Williams, concerning a state income tax deduction for military retirement benefits for an individual who is under 55 years of age.
Representative Danielson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1060 and the Appropriations Committee report.
Also a Finance Committee report?
And the Finance Committee report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Danielson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We made several changes in the Appropriations Committee that brought the fiscal impact to the state's general fund to a manageable level. We made a few other changes that narrowed the scope of the bill, but it was a good compromise that ensures support for the measure both sides of the aisle in both chambers. And I ask an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee vote. Bill.
Are there any other questions on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Appropriation Committee report passes. To the Finance Committee report, Representative Danielson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the Finance Committee report and ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Finance Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, we've had this bill several years now. It will help our veterans. It will keep them in our state. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1060? Representative Danielson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Folks, we have a duty to the people across the state to make Colorado the most veteran-friendly state as possible. We've done a lot of work on their behalf this year, and we should be very proud of it. But House Bill 1060, tax deduction for military retirees, is a major, major step forward for thousands of veterans all across the state. This bill provides a tax deduction for younger retirees. Did you know that the average age of a military retiree is about 38 years old? Well, that means that these folks are not done working. We have a chance to pass this bill and show veterans across the state that we appreciate their service and that we want this skilled and highly productive workforce to stay right here in Colorado. It is a workforce development bill, and this bill honors the service of our veterans. It will keep these younger retirees right here in our state, and it will show them that they have our respect and that we appreciate their service. And for those reasons, I ask for your aye vote on House Bill 1060, military tax deduction for retirees.
Are there any further discussions on House Bill 1060? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1060. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. House Bill 1060 passes.
Thank you.
Members, it's getting very loud in here. If you could please keep your conversations to a minimum or off to the side, I'd appreciate that. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1102.
House Bill 1102 by Representatives Roberts and Wichita, Senator Cook, concerning extending the length of prosecution fellowships from 1 year to 18 months.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1102, the Judiciary Committee report and the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Appropriations Committee, we made a couple changes. First, we moved this bill, or this time frame of this fellowship, from 18 months to 15 months. That reduced the fiscal note and the expenditure needed, and the Appropriations Committee made that appropriation. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Appropriations Committee report passes. To the Judiciary Committee report, Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Judiciary Committee, we added one amendment to make clear how this money should be allocated and splitting between the law schools and the General Assembly, and which offices that this money will go to. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Are there any further discussions on the Judiciary Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Judiciary Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Judiciary Committee report passes. To the bill.
Do the amendment. Go ahead.
Representative Roberts. One moment, please. Members, I'm having a hard time hearing, and I've got a speaker up here. Please keep it down. Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Amendment L004 to House Bill 1102.
Amendment L004 has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Roberts, would you like to explain it, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is simply changing the bill title to reflect the change we made in the Appropriations Committee, which shortens the original bill had the fellowship at 18 months. We've shortened it to 15 months, and this amendment reflects that change. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L004? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L004. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Amendment L004 passes. To the bill. Representative Wist.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this is an outstanding program. It started in 2014, and it helps to fill the gap that we have in some of our rural judicial districts to find talented folks to go out and be prosecutors. It's always a challenge to find good folks to be prosecutors, but in some rural areas, and thank goodness for the example like Representative Roberts, who does a fine job as a prosecutor in a rural district. This program provides opportunities for law school grads from DU and CU to do a fellowship, and this increases the opportunity, increases the likelihood that once there is a placement, that these individuals will remain at those district attorneys' offices and serve these communities. This is a critical bill to help us discharge our important responsibilities to make sure that our criminal justice system is functioning effectively and efficiently. And I ask for your support of the bill.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1102? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1102 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. House Bill 1102 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1195.
House Bill 1195, Representative Babone, House Senator Tate, concerning the creation of a credit against state income tax to promote contributions to nonprofit organizations engaged in the development of affordable housing for home ownership.
Representative Babone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I move House Bill 1195, the Finance Committee report and the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And while some might say the Appropriations Committee passed an appropriations amendment, I will not say that. What I will do is I will describe what we did in Appropriations Committee, which is to put a cap on this bill to 1.5 million when it was otherwise 20 million, which is a significant fiduciary responsibility we have for our taxpayer dollars. And second, it is sunset after 4 years. And with that, I ask for an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Appropriations Committee report passes. To the Finance Committee report, Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the Finance Committee report did excellent work, as you might imagine, on this bill. And but there was one outstanding issue, or a couple outstanding issues that we wanted to address. So I move L003 and ask that it be displayed.
Amendment L003 to the Finance Committee report has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Pabon, please explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And for those of you who are in the Finance Committee, you may remember this issue. It was, how do we allow a nonprofit entity that uses a land lease as a mechanism for developing affordable housing projects as opposed to a deed restriction? And what this amendment does is it basically gives flexibility to both using a land lease or a deed restriction. And then the second part of the amendment is simply to have some clarity on the refund mechanism of this, and this is a Department of Revenue requested provision. So I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L003 to the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L003 to the Finance Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Amendment L003 passes. Back to the committee report. Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And with that, I ask for a yes vote on the Finance Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Finance Committee report passes. Representative Pabon, back to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, we often have talked about and discussed the challenging issue associated with affordable housing in Colorado. And we've put up many different ideas, many different programs, many different tax credits. And one of the types of housing that we've primarily focused on, and for good reason, is rental housing. But in this case, 1195 takes a little bit different approach. And it says, let's focus on home ownership and the aspects associated with affordable housing and home ownership. Because we know that we can build wealth that way, for those of you who are recognize the ability to do that. And so this says that if a nonprofit entity receives a tax credit that has been, and the project that the nonprofit is looking at is an affordable housing ownership project that the Colorado Housing Finance Authority has signed off on, then the donor of those dollars to that nonprofit will get a 50% tax credit. And this is an unprecedented type of tax credit. It's a good tax credit. It's for home ownership, incentivizes those who are interested in developing it, and basically brings together the full tools of the government, the nonprofit sector, and the private sector. And so it asks for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1195? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of 1195 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. 1195 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1351.
House Bill 1351, Representative Valdez and Covarrubias, all Senators Crowder and Garcia, concerning signage for the Old Spanish Trail.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move 1351 and the Appropriations Report.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the appropriations, we clarify the gifts, grants, and donations will support the signage of the bill and also the declaration of the rich history of the trail. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Representative Salazar.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I appreciate the great work that has been put into this bill by Representatives Valdez and Covarrubias, and I appreciate the fact that they added a legislative declaration. I do have some minor changes to the legislative declaration, which includes one slight word change, as well as adding in one more paragraph. Therefore, I move L010.
Amendment L010 to the Appropriations Committee report has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Salazar.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And if you take a look at the Appropriations Committee report and you take a look at L010, what you'll see is on line 21 of L010 and line 22, on the Appropriations Committee report, it says in the forced labor market, and I switched that to participated in the slave trade. So we want to make sure that the wording is correct, because it wasn't a forced labor market, it was actually slavery. The next aspect of it is I added an E. E is many American Indian slaves or genizados were captured by traders and trappers along the route and were sold at the conclusion of the route in California and New Mexico. That is missing from the legislative declaration, but that is actual history. So it makes the legislative declaration better, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L010? Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Salazar, in the legislative declaration that we moved with clarified in the appropriations, we do talk about slavery and also the hardships, but also the positive aspect of the trail. And I ask for a no vote on this.
Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so one question I had is, if you look at lines 20 and 21 of the I guess the legislative declaration. So I understood the reason for the use of the word forced labor market because, and this is a question for the amendment sponsor, I understood that it was both slavery and indentured servitude was going on the trail. And so if it was both indentured servitude and slavery, then you would describe it as a forced labor market because it would be both. If it was just slavery, then you would call it slavery. But unless there's some historical element that I'm missing, but I thought both indentured servitude and slavery took place on the trail.
Representative Benavides.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we had a lengthy discussion about this. This wasn't indentured servitude. These individuals, Genesaros, did not owe anybody money, so they weren't paying off a debt. What happened is that families that took them in, which were a lot of Hispanic families in the region, if you look at the census, like in my family, they're listed as Indian servant on there. They weren't paying off any debt, but the families, once they were old enough or got married, would release them. But there wasn't any indentured servitude involved. And paragraph E that's being added was actually, we had a lot of discussion about that because these slaves were captured along the way, and then what would happen is they would be sold. They had basically slave markets at either end in California, or we talked a lot about Abiquiu, New Mexico, where they had open markets where they would sell them. After these markets would sell goods, and then when those markets closed, they would do the illicit sale of the Genesaros. So these weren't indentured servants, and I support the amendment. I think it's clear that the overall declaration does provide both sides of the story, but it makes it clear what we're talking about. And paragraph E actually was taken from the comprehensive report prepared by BLM and National Park Service. So I urge support of this amendment.
Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. So again, what we're trying to do is recognize history for what it is, and I support that effort completely. And what I heard is that there was some reference to being an Indian servant, which to me is different than being an Indian slave. And again, if there's no distinction here, then I think one of two things needs to happen. I think we need to say either servants were essentially slaves or were slaves, and so there is recognition that this is nomenclature apparently that was used to soften what was otherwise a slave practice, or if there was some sort of compensation, remuneration for the service that was provided, then it is, even if it's de minimis or minimal, perhaps the idea was that there was some compensation involved, and therefore there was a servant relationship. And if we're going to be historically accurate, then we need to be broader. We need to use a descriptor broader than slavery, because slavery is, by definition, a very clearly defined term, at least in our current vernacular. So I just want to make sure that if we're going to be historically accurate, that we really get into the details of this declaration, which, by the way, is a declaration, has no force of law, but I think is a fairly important statement about what we're trying to do here.
Representative Benavides.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, the census that I saw in our family was from 1860, and they used the vernacular of Indian servant. But that does not mean that Indian servant received compensation, other than they received a place to live and they received food. Slaves are slaves. African American slaves received a place to live and they received food. And that doesn't make them compensated servants because they received a place to live and food for their work. So we can call it anything else, but like I said, the term slave is used in the comprehensive report. So I think we're talking semantics. This was slavery, and that's what we discussed. And You know, there wasn't any extensive showing of any kind of compensation to these slaves. So without compensation, I mean, we can guess, but you can call food and a place to live compensation, but I call it slavery. So I urge a yes vote on the amendment.
Is there any further discussion on amendment? Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just speaking with Representative Valdez here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture all the history of this. It wasn't forced labor market, it was slavery. And as you moved along the Santa Fe Trail, at the end of each part of it in California or in New Mexico, that's where the slaves were sold. So that's the reason why we put that in there, is to capture that history. We understand that the legislative declaration as it stands under the appropriation clause is trying to capture both the positive and the negative, but we think that we're missing one aspect of it, which is the actual slave trade itself. So, you know, we're not trying to mess with the bill, we're trying to improve upon it. And as a professor at Metro State who teaches on this stuff, I'm trying to help improve the bill, make it more technically accurate. And so that's why I'm asking for a yes vote on Amendment L010. But not only that, but this is also a little bit personal to me too. My great-grandmother, she was basically sold into slavery to a Spanish family in the San Luis Valley. And so this all took place along the Santa Fe Trail. I mean, if we're going to capture history, let's capture it correctly, and that's why I'm asking for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on amendment L010? Representative
Are you okay with it?
Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After further discussion with the amendment, we'd like to proceed, and I ask for an aye vote on the amendment.
Any further discussion on amendment L010? Representative Willett.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Madam Chair, first. So the old Spanish Trail goes through my district. I've walked on it. I've ridden mountain bikes on it. We have some signage. I was leaning no on this just because I thought we could get signage through gifts, grants, donations, and volunteers, but I was going to vote yes. Now I'm faced with a bill that doesn't have anything to do with a nice civics project of honoring the history and having a trail that people can enjoy and have some historical placards where they can really learn something. Now we have this debate where the sponsor's gone back and forth in amendments and appropriations, which is probably not the appropriate place to be changing this bill. So now you've talked me out of a good bill, and you've skewed and twisted the original intent of the bill, so I got to vote no on a bill that actually would have helped my district.
Any other further discussion on amendment L010? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of amendment L010. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Amendment L010 passes. Back to the Appropriations Committee report.
We're not doing this right now.
Madam Majority Leader.
I move to lay over this bill till this afternoon.
Upon the request of the Majority Leader, House Bill 1351 will be laid over until later today. Mr. Randall, when you are ready, please read the title to House Bill 1423.
House Bill 1423, Representative Valdez and Liston, all Senators Crowder and Garcia, concerning grants to provide equipment to rural fire protection districts.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I move House Bill 1423 and the Appropriations Committee report.
Representative Liston, can you please move the local government report as well?
I'm sorry?
The local government report as well,
Yes,
please?
yes, and the local government report as well.
Thank you very much. To the Appropriations Committee report.
Very good. Members, what the Appropriations Committee report did, the Good Appropriations Committee, they appropriated $250,000, and I ask for an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee report.
There any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Appropriation Committee report passes. To the Local Government Committee report.
Very good. Thank you.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. What the Local Government Committee report did is that, members, we were originally asking for $500,000 to go to the rural fire districts, but it was amended so that the $500,000 would go to all of the potential fire departments, whether it was rural or urban, and it did pass, and I guess I asked for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the local government committee report? Representative Valdez.
I ask for an aye vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Seeing any further discussion on the local government committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor of the committee report say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. The local government committee report passes despite opposition. To the bill, Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1423 is an increase for public safety and currently authorizes funding for local fire departments, safety and disease prevention to provide grants and equipment for the training to increase firefighter safety and prevention. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, members, we all know that unfortunately we had a pretty dry winter and a dry spring, and we've already had a number of wildfires. And if you look at the screen up here, we had one in eastern El Paso County that destroyed 23 homes. There's been multiple fires, and what we're trying to do is on this bill is the old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound to cure, is to help the various fire districts, especially the smaller ones, that give them an opportunity to upgrade their equipment. But with that being said, what I would like to do, because the amount of money that we're dealing with on this grant program is only $250,000, so potentially a fire department does not come along and take half or a third of the money. I would like to offer Amendment L003 and ask that it be displayed.
Amendment L003, can you move it, please?
I move L003 and ask that it be displayed.
Thank you. It has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Liston, would you like to explain it, please?
Yes, what it does, members, since we're dealing with $250,000 in the entirety for the state of Colorado, just so that potentially a big district or somebody doesn't get a grant for $200,000, this just limits the size of the grant to $25,000. It will still help whoever may apply for it, but so that, like I say, we don't have somebody drop a cannonball in a bucket of water. So it just limits the size to $25,000, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Valdez.
Good amendment.
Nope. Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L003. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Amendment L003 passes. To the bill. Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, members, this is a good bill. It will help all of the districts that apply for this grant money, and that they can get out there if there's a potential fire with their new upgraded equipment or whatever it may be. I ask for an aye vote on House Bill 1423.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a good bill. Vote yes for firefighter safety and disease prevention. Ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1423? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1423 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Ayes have it. House Bill 1423 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1430.
House Bill 1430, Representatives Van Winkle and Young, all Senator Lundberg, concerning the requirement that a state agency prepare a long-range financial plan.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1430 and the Finance Committee report.
To the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Madam
Representative
Chair.
Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the Finance Committee report, I move L004. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes.
For?
L004 to the Finance Committee report.
Amendment L004 to the Finance Committee report has been properly moved and is displayed. Representative Van Winkle, please explain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What this does is it gives legislative intent into exactly what we'd like to see from this report, which is a forecast of 3 years out in addition to the budget request given that exact year. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L004? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L004. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Amendment L004 passes. To the Finance Committee report, Representative Young.
I thought we just...
Ask for an aye vote.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I ask for an aye vote on the amended Finance Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. To the bill, Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'm very proud to present, along with my colleague, Representative Young, House Bill 1430, which, members, truly is one of the most important and innovative bills of the year. It comes from years of discussion with both current and former members who have expressed a desire to look a little farther into the future with our budget than just 1 year. The bill specifically asks agencies and departments to present, along with their annual budget request, a multi-year forecast of anticipated spending to the Joint Budget Committee. Just like a weather forecast, it's intended to give the Joint Budget Committee and the members of the legislature and the public more knowledge of what is coming. For example, if there's a large computer refresh at a huge Fortune 500 sized department in Colorado coming in 3 years, it'd be great to start planning for that now and let everyone know about it. Families regularly develop long-term plans to ensure that long-term goals are achieved, like saving for college or retirement, and to make sure money isn't wasted and long-term expenses are anticipated. Our government should do the very same. Many of our departments are already doing this, but this formalizes it and puts it in a place that we all, as the legislature and the public, can view it. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1430? Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm going to reserve my remarks for in a moment, but before that, I move L005 and ask that it be properly displayed.
Amendment L005 has been moved to House Bill 1430 and is properly displayed. Representative Young, please explain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And what happened in committee when we were delivering this bill was some effort to try to work with OSPB and accommodate their concerns that the first time that we go through this process that we needed a little bit more accommodation, a little bit more permissive language in there. And we also came up with the idea that maybe we needed to actually put some guardrails on this and actually give them an idea of how many years out they needed to forecast. And so that's exactly what this amendment does, gives a little bit more direction to the departments, OSPB, and to the judicial branch. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L005? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L005 to House Bill 1430. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Amendment passes. To the bill, Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I thank Representative Van Winkle for bringing this bill. You know, members, there's a lot of work that is done like this in state government, forecasting out, but it's not a situation where we actually collect it all into one place, where we can actually look forward and see what is anticipated to come at us. And Representative Van Winkle referred to a large implementation of technology. Frankly, we actually had one of those. We had the implementation of the MMIS interchange system, and as we got into that, we discovered it was a very large and expansive change, but that none of us knew was coming. And the reason we didn't know it was coming was because that decision was made in 2009, and all of us have arrived here since then. And so by actually implementing this process, we're actually going to be, I think, more aware of what's coming and how to deal with it so that we can actually interact with our constituents more effectively and have a better understanding of the real needs of state government. With that, I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1430? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1430 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. House Bill 1430 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1434.
House Bill 1434 by Representative Singer, all Senators Gardner and Fields, concerning the Safety Detail Program in connection with creating new duties for the Safety Detail Program, requiring the Safety Detail Program to prepare an annual report that analyzes data from the program and makes recommendations on improving the program.
Representative Singer.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1434, and the Appropriations Committee report.
Also the Public Health Care.
And the Public Health report.
Thank you very much, Representative Singer. To the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Appropriations Committee made sure that the dollars were made available through the Marijuana Tax Cash Fund, as this is a program that will be actually diverting kids from drug use. And I ask for an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Appropriations Committee report passes. To the Public Health Care and Human Services report, Representative Michelson Janae.
Thank you, Representative Escar, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
In the Public Health Committee, we did work on the bill to make sure that there was a clear definition that this is a program that remains an anonymous program versus confidential, which sounds like a little bit of a narrow difference, but we threaded the needle.
Representative Singer, any comments?
Yes, Madam Chair, I missed the committee because my child was being born, but it certainly sounded like it was a great committee, and I want to appreciate everyone that came down to testify in my absence, and I ask for an aye vote.
Fabulous. Any other comments on the Public Health Care and Human Services Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1434 is a bill that is about compromise. We did hear from our community that this is a great program, this is a national model, but at the same time we need to do our best to make sure that when reports are coming in that are less than honest, that we aren't unintentionally letting kids bully other kids, which is what does happen in a minority of cases, but it's significant enough that we need to address this. This bill allows us to create the best practices and do the best research possible so we can create a right-sized approach that makes sure that we are protecting all our kids and not allowing this to be used as a backdoor tool in a few but very significant number of circumstances. I truly appreciate what Lucy had to say in committee. I listened to the committee testimony, and for any of our teens to stand up and speak truth about their bullying experiences deserves its own recognition. With that being said, though, I ask for an aye vote on House Bill 1434.
Representative Michelson Janae.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Singer, for allowing me the opportunity to join you on this so that you could leave and have, be present for the birth of your baby. I would be remiss if I didn't point out that I am wearing my T-shirt from the University of Denver, Daniels College of Business, where I did study for and receive my MBA. And what we learned in business school, that businesses go through a life cycle. And this has been around for about 19 years. It came following Columbine. And we're at the point in the life cycle of the program where it is that time where we need to do this evaluation, as we're seeing some holes come through as the kids who are now having access to Safe to Tell weren't there during Columbine. That being said, they have experienced here in Colorado violence that we hope never to have again. And this is that opportunity to test the program, look into the program, strengthen the program, and keep it around to keep our kids in our schools safe. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1434? Representative Kraftharp.
Thank you. So I want to speak today for my friend Lucy, who goes to school in Arvada, who is somebody who has got to know this program extremely well because she is somebody whose name was turned in and had a difficult time being able to go find a process and to go through the process that she was innocent. So she came and testified in committee her first time, and so I'm very extremely proud of her. So I want to recognize her today for her help in making law and ask for your support. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1434? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1434. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. House Bill 1434 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1390.
House Bill 1390, Representative Singer and Ransom, all Senators Moreno and Smallwood, concerning creating an option for parents who seek to voluntarily delegate certain parental responsibilities to a safe family for a limited period of time without relinquishing legal custody of their child.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1390, the Appropriations Report, the Finance Committee report, and the Public Health Committee report.
Let's start with the Appropriations Committee report. Representative, who would like to explain it? Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Appropriations Committee simply made sure that the appropriate appropriations were available to implement House Bill 1390. We did a significant strike below amendment in the Public Health Care and Human Services Committee report that basically cut the fiscal note by about 90%. We ask for your aye vote.
Any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. All those opposed, say no. Appropriations Committee report passes. To the Finance report, Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Finance Committee report simply added a couple of technical changes and also clarified that both parents would need to be notified if the children were placed using this program. I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Finance Committee report passes as I drop the gavel. To the Public Health Care and Human Services report, Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Public Health Care and Human Services Committee report, as I alluded to before, this was a strike below. After sitting down with the Office of Respondent Parents Council, our Office of Child's Representative, as well as our county partners, we came to a new, basically a new bill. This is a bill that threads the needle. And what this does is it allows for these substitute care organizations in the state of Colorado to exist with licensure. This is a program that's already working in over 30 other states, and our goal here is to make it work for Colorado. Those other states, we don't see the same level of licensure that we see here. We've taken stronger steps because we want to make sure that we protect families. But before I ask for your aye vote, I believe Representative Ransom has a couple of amendments.
We have 3, right?
Let me know which amendment you would like to move first.
Let's do 011.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L011.
One moment, please. Amendment L011 has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Ransom, please explain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You can see that we were still working with stakeholders right up until the last minute, trying to make sure that we got in every last piece that they were asking for. This, as you can see, just changes approved to certified in a few different places in the bill. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L011? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L011. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Amendment L0011. Amendment L011 passes. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Amendment L010.
Amendment L010 has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment does a number of things, but the most important thing that we did in this amendment is make sure that when we're in the juvenile court system, we want to make sure that the custodial power of attorney is the one that is working with folks here. We know that not all kids are in the care of their parents. They may be going through other juvenile court processes, and this is a bill to clarify that, and I ask for your aye vote.
Representative Rosenthal.
Are you on the amendment?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Representative Singer. I'm not as much an expert on this issue as you are, so if it's okay if I ask a couple questions on this. My understanding of this bill is that this is basically a nonprofit would be able to coordinate a relationship between a parent or parents and other folks who they're not related to who might be receiving this child for over 6 months. Now, what I don't understand about this amendment is now we're bringing in a judicial process Whereas before, I understood that this was just, oh, this is just between parents, this is a nonprofit coordinating that, and now there's a judicial process. So I guess I don't understand why that's important in this case.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Rosenthal, that is a very important question here. What we're doing here is making sure that the parents aren't trying to usurp another process that's already happening. So we want to make sure that the parent that is making this decision is the parent who has that decision-making authority, and ensure that any other jurisdictional issues are addressed at the same time. So what may happen in a juvenile court proceeding is custody may be with the county, custody may be in the foster care, with the county in the foster care system. Custody still may remain with the birth parents. But what we're saying here is that we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing here and not usurping an already existing process. The other thing here is that counties were concerned that this would potentially, not counties. Bar Association was concerned that we would be affecting any sort of delegation of power of attorney or guardianship in Title 15. This is a clear, bright line within Title 15 that says that we're not actually touching our power of attorney laws. We're not touching our guardianship laws. That this is its own lane to ensure that this process is done as an agreement between parents and a nonprofit organization that is certified by the state.
Any other further discussion on Amendment L010? Representative Kraftharp.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk, once we get to the bill, about my county and about CCI, just to pre-warn you. But have the county attorneys and the CCI and the counties looked at these amendments?
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have shared these amendments with all the parties, and this does not bring CCI in favor of the bill, but this was a conversation that we were having more specifically with the Bar Association. This is something that they brought to us, and this is something that, as we're working with them, something that they agreed that they could work with.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L010? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L010. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Amendment L010 passes. Representative Singer.
All right. Do we have any more amendments?
That's one that just came this morning.
All right. So, it's Amendment 1. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Amendment L001 has to be displayed.
Amendment L001 to House Bill 1390 has been moved and is properly displayed. Representative Singer, please explain.
Oh, my apologies. This
Okay.
we've already done that one.
Let's forget about. Would you like to withdraw that motion?
I withdraw that motion, but I did want to bring this point up, actually, that these Safe Care families that are doing this are going to become mandatory reporters of child abuse and neglect. That is the specific, one of the concerns that was brought up is whether or not these Safe Care families are in fact individuals that are effectively able to handle the situation that they are given. And if they do hear and see something that does become a child welfare issue, we want to make sure that that report is made immediately to our human service departments, because that is no longer an issue for a nonprofit agency. That is an issue for our child protection system. And so I will leave it at that.
Is there any further discussion on the Public Health Care and Human Services report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the committee report. All those as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Healthcare Committee report passes. Back to the bill. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now I move Amendment L012 and ask that it be displayed.
One moment, please. Amendment L012 has been moved to House Bill 1390 and is properly displayed. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment was brought to us just recently by CCI. Essentially, what their concern is that they didn't want to confuse what is already happening in our child welfare system with what is happening in what our proposed bill is. Essentially, you're seeing a lot of strike-throughs here, but basically what we're striking out of the bill is the language saying, including those specified in 19-1-125-5. And this is making sure that we're not talking about family stabilization services that are done through the child welfare system. This is, once again, its own separate lane, and this does not bring CCI into support of the bill, but we are continuing to work with them, and in a good faith effort, we'd like to ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L012? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L012. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment L012 passes. Back to the bill. Representative Ransom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, this bill is one that has been a long time coming, and I'm really excited to be part of it. What this does is create an option for families that are in a crisis situation but don't have family support nearby. They don't have people around them that can help with children if they are in a temporary position. Some of the examples we heard were a health issue. If a single mom or a single dad needs surgery next week, and if they don't have family that can come take care of their children for a short time. It also includes military deployment, and use your imagination, it can include whatever crisis situation that you can imagine. So this is a family that needs a village but doesn't have one. They don't have a family member or close friend that they can leave their children with for a few months. And so what was happening is a group was facilitating, mostly through nonprofits, and it was often churches. They would find a family that was willing to keep kids for a few months. This was the host family. They would take care of children, and then during this emergency time, the parent or parents could easily go visit the kids, or they still had custody, but there would be a parental agreement and a signed contract so that the host family could do medical treatment. For example, if a child fell down and needed stitches, the host family could get him to the emergency room and take care of that. And they could make decisions about, sign permission slips for school, things like that. But then at the end of the agreed upon time, the parent then could go get the child or children back. So what this is a temporary agreement. These are fit parents that were not part of the dependency or neglect. They were not part of the foster care program. They did not need to be in the foster care program, although currently that is the option that these parents have. This can be a fit parent that's doing a fine job taking care of her or his children, and if they have an emergency and don't have anything else, any other options, they would literally have to turn their kids over to the foster care system for just a few months. And obviously that includes a whole other series of complications and potential hard to resolve situations by turning their kids over. So that is why we wanted to have this option for parents to utilize this program, keep the kids out of the foster care system, let them stay with someone that the parent has met, hopefully has, and chances are, unless it was a true emergency that needed to happen immediately, the parent will have a chance to go meet the host family. They can take the kids over, have a barbecue, get to know them, and then let the child or children know that there will be a month or two that these kids have to be there while mom recovers from the surgery or whatever the emergency type situation is. So with that, this is in effect what the bill does. There are a lot of safeguards around it. Obviously, Representative Singer can explain some of those with all of the different groups that have been involved. But this is a great program, folks. This is one that really, it helps kids that need a place to stay just for a short period of time, and the government does not need to be part of the system, although we have instigated some background checks and just some safeguards for the host families just to make sure, because we do want to make sure that the children are safe. But again, there are plenty of safeguards in the program currently.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I couldn't have put it much better myself, but just the 10,000-foot view of this. Coming from a child welfare background, we know that when the bottom falls out, all the stops get pulled, our counties get involved. It incurs enormous amounts of taxpayer dollars to do the right thing. This is a voluntary program. How many of us either experience this in our own lives or in the lives of our friends where parents were struggling and they needed somebody, whether it was an Aunt Jane or an Uncle Joe or somebody to step in and help out just for a little while? Well, you heard during Child Welfare Month that there are tens of thousands of people that don't have an Aunt Jane or Uncle Joe. And so what this is it creates a system where parents who are at their end of the rope, but there's no child protection concern, can create a voluntary agreement with a family without having to go through a protracted court process, which they probably can't afford. 90% of the families that use this program in other states are single moms. And we should be doing better by them, but if we can let them use their own choices to make for their own kids, that's the difference that this can make. That's the difference that this can make, because then we aren't seeing involvement in the child welfare system. We're actually seeing families taking control of their own lives and using their own system, and we are giving parents a choice. And with that, I ask for your aye vote.
Representative Ransom, we do have other people that would love to speak to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you, Madam Chair. Just one more thing. The parents keep their parental rights. They are not signing those over. They still have their parental rights. They can end the agreement at any time should things clear up and resolve themselves and they want to go back. And there's no money involved. The host families do this volunteer. Think about all the things that we do as volunteers in our worlds, in our own worlds, in our own lives. And these are families that have volunteered to come in and take care of these children for a short period of time. And I also urge an aye vote.
Representative Kraftharp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I do have a question. Why can't the Safe Families get a CPA license under the current law?
Representative Singer.
Excellent question. Thank you, Madam Chair, and Representative Kraft-Tharp. And so, and CPA is not the accountant one you're asking for here, but the other one, right? Just double checking. I thought we had to send this back to Finance Committee. But the serious element of this, we talked to the State Department that works with our child placement agencies, our other CPAs. They said that they don't believe it actually fits under current statute. And in addition to that, CPAs were specifically set up for child protection concerns. And so if you want to actually look at this in terms of the child welfare system, that's not this bill. Our CPA advocates and friends out there are not supportive of moving that into the language. But what we are saying in this bill is let's take the examples from our CPA system that do work, put that in the rulemaking, invite the stakeholders to the table, but we really want to avoid the child welfare system when it doesn't need to be involved, and that our child placement agencies historically have only been there when child welfare concerns exist. So this is creating another option outside the child welfare system, and it is, once again, it is something that this language is supported by the State Department of Human Services. Both the State Department and the CPAs disagree that putting this under a CPA license would be an effective way to do this, and I look forward to further questions.
Representative Kraftharp.
Oh, good, because I do have one. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I hear a lot of words about option and voluntary. So is this optional or voluntary for counties to be able to participate?
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Counties have no role in this one way or the other. This is not a county license. This is a state license. So counties, there is no county role for this. This is not the child welfare system. Since it's outside of the child welfare system where the county's jurisdiction is, we see no need to have counties intervene in any sense of it. So they don't have an option here because there is no option to be given.
Representative Kraftharp.
Thank you. So thank you for asking my questions. And actually, when you look at the statute for child placement agencies, it means any corporation, partnership, association, firm, agency, institution, or person unrelated to the child being placed, who places, who facilitates placement for a few, or who arrange for placement for care of any child. So this really would fit under that in terms of statute. So it pains me greatly to be able to say this because I have the utmost absolute respect for you, Representative Singer, and I'm sure I do for you and your experience, Representative Ransom. But I need to strongly oppose this and ask you, please pull this bill. Let's meet with the stakeholders. When CCI is opposed, that causes a problem. That should raise some problems for you to sit and look at them. Jefferson County, one of the largest counties, who runs one of the largest human service organizations, is opposed. That should cause serious concern that should say to you, we need to go back to the table. We need to figure out what their opposition is. We need to figure out how we can work it through. So I am begging you, please pull this bill, go back to the table, let's do some stakeholding. We have time. We're coming back this afternoon. Before being in the legislature and before working here at the Capitol, I ran child programs. And all the time, I was confronted with legislators who had great ideas, but didn't know how they worked in actual implementation. And I was responsible for that implementation. So you all go away on May 9th, but these programs have to live with these laws. And if they're not okay with it, we should stop, take a look, let's go back to the table. Let's talk about what their concerns are and how we can help them. So it pains me greatly because you are my hero. And I'm sure you are too, Representative Ranson. But I am asking, let's work this out with the people that are actually working on these programs.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, representatives. I see what you're trying to do with this House Bill 1390, and I know my city, Denver, is having some heartburn with some parts of it, and so I'm just really trying to understand this more. I know we didn't really have a chance to chat too much about it. So some of the things that both sponsors have said here on the House floor is, like, well, it's only a few short months, but it could go upwards of 6 months, but in the case of military deployments, over 6 months. And then I heard from Representative Singer, it's like, well, this is not child welfare, and yet I'm concerned that it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, and therefore this is child welfare, and that we do have other mechanisms, other things in the law. In fact, the law is clear that says what a CPA is. It's a child placement agency, which is exactly what this type of agency is. The one that had some issues, that was given a warning, that was not able to operate now, and that this bill is sort of modeled to try to allow to operate. And so my concern is that we're creating this thing ex nihilo, nice little Latin term for those of you. I'm not a lawyer, but it means from nothing, from zero. And that we're doing amendments, we're having conversations back and forth. We have a week left in session. It's not even gone out of the House yet. And as Representative Kraft-Tharp said, this is something that they're going to have to live with for a full, year, potentially, until we have potentially repair any issues. And I get it. There's a part of the bill that says, and the bill is somewhat intentionally vague because it talks about there's a board that will meet, a working group, and the working group will talk about, how do we create regulations and rules surrounding this. But what if the rules are not agreed on? What if folks don't come to some agreement on to what it should say, or they're not stringent enough, or there's or they're good, they have goodwill involved, but there's always going to be some kids who fall through the cracks, and we already have them fall through the cracks in our current child welfare system. So I'm really worried that we're doing something on the fly, really quick, that's going to affect a number of children, and it's just we haven't looked at all the possible outcomes, and that some kids will be affected by this and affected negatively, and that's what I'm really worried about.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Rosenthal, I actually share all of those concerns. And, for people who think that this has been rushed, this is actually one of former Representative Norberg's pre-file bills. So this concept has actually been floating out there for a considerable amount of time. This is a model that's already working in 32 other states. If there were significant problems with those other 32 states, we would be hearing about them by now. In addition to that, this bill doesn't put anything into effect until after rulemaking goes through. So if the rulemaking doesn't work, then the brakes get put on, we slow this down. In addition to that, we spoke with both the CPAs and the Department of Human Services. They really do believe that CPA licensure is inappropriate, but this actually creates a license. So I think we might just be arguing about what is in name only as opposed to anything else. That being said, we're still accepting suggestions and amendments from our county partners as they are bringing things up. We are taking them, even though the last amendment that we just put on didn't even bring our counties into support of the bill. We still said that, you know what, we're going to work forward in a good faith manner. In addition to that, both Douglas and Mesa counties have come in support of the bill since looking at the amendments and the strike below. So I think that we do need to be very careful about this. The other thing about in terms of, well, you know, what about the length of time? This is voluntary at every single point. We had the Office of Respondents Parents Council, the people that represent parents in these highly contentious situations, go through this language and put in protections to ensure that at any point in time when a birth parent wants to take care of their kids, that they can terminate any kind of agreement. This is not child welfare. And this is why it doesn't quack like a duck. There is no child protection concern. I can't say that emphatically enough. If there was a child protection concern, none of this goes into effect. None of this happens. So that's why we're doing this today, is because this is about parents agreeing with other outside organizations to work to help their kids under a licensed system. It's just not a CPA license. It's in its own category today, so we're not mixing this up with a child protection case. So I hope I answered or at least responded as best I can to most of those questions, but there is a significant concern from both the CPAs and the Department of Human Services. If you put this under a CPA license, this isn't going to work. This is its own license taking best practices from CPAs, and even that, like I said, was an action in compromise. There were a lot of people that wanted to move forward without any licensure whatsoever. And so with that, I ask for your aye vote.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I really appreciate that response, Representative Singer. I just have one final question, and then I'll let this be. But so, who is on this board or study committee that will be actually making the recommendations for the rulemaking, and what is the time frame that they'll actually promulgate some of these rules? Thank you.
Representative Singer for the answer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe we approved this in our committee report. First of all, the good news is that everybody is invited to the table. We have also made that very clear with the department as well as other organizations that we want counties there, we want our Office of Child Representatives there, we want Respondent Parents Council there, we want our CASAs there. This is going to be a broad stakeholder process. Once the bill is signed, we need to get rule promulgation going. And so we need to convene a work group that involve, and actually I'm reading specifically from the committee report now, must include at minimum representatives from the State Department, the child welfare community, nonprofit organizations that are interested in applying for the license, county departments, CASAs, licensed child placement agencies, the Office of Child Representative, and the Respondent Parents Council. So this is a very comprehensive list, and this does not exclude anyone from participating in those things, including ourselves as legislators if there are concerns. Once again, the brakes get put on if this breaks down, and that we can slow this train down. If the rules don't go forward, we don't go forward. But the idea here is that we get people in agreement to create a workable program to make sure that parents have a voluntary option to make sure that they can take care of their kids as they see fit.
Representative Neville. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sponsors, thank you for bringing this bill. Members, I can't tell you how many times when I was in the Army that we had to kick a person out because they didn't have a proper family care plan. You would have couples that would meet once they join the Army and they get married and then have children, and they would get deployment orders. And because they didn't have a family care plan, we would have to actually kick someone out of the military service because of that. In some cases, they were 3-4 years away from retirement and lost their entire retirement because of it. Had this in place, had been in place, we wouldn't have had that happen. There was another soldier who was deployed, and his wife ran into some addiction issues. And I remember being there the moment that Child Services came in and took the kids away and put them into foster care. And that poor soldier over there defending our country is worried about his kids being in foster care. Had something like this been in place, I think we could have found a workable solution that would have been beneficial to all the families and the soldiers involved. So thank you for bringing this.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1390? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1390 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. House Bill 1390 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1431.
House Bill 1431, Representative Janela, Senator Small, concerning updating managed care provisions of the medical assistance program in connection with aligning managed care provisions with the new federal managed care regulations, removing obsolete duplicative statutory language programs, and updating and aligning statutory provisions to reflect the current statewide managed care system.
Nice, Mr. Randall. Representative Janelle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I move House Bill 1431. There are no committee reports.
To the bill, Representative Janelle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a highly technical bill, and it updates state statutes to align with new federal and managed care regulations. The bill ensures compliance with the 2016 federal managed care rules, for example, criteria for accepting enrollees and protecting enrollees from discrimination, updated provisions relating to grievances and appeals. Also, it removes outdated terminology like references to obsolete primary care physician programs and outdated language referencing behavioral health organizations. It also reflects programs and policies that include integration of the physical and behavioral health managed care systems. This is a bill that is necessary, and I ask you for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1431? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1431. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. House Bill 1431 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 12. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to labor House Bill 1230 till the end of the special orders calendar.
Upon the request of Assistant Majority Leader, House Bill 1230 will be laid over till the end of the special orders calendar. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1057.
House Bill 1057, Representative McKean, also on quorum, concerning the collection of debts in connection with requiring that certain information about judgment debtors be disclosed to judgment creditors that obtain a court order for such disclosure, and allowing collection agents to add certain expenses to amounts due for collection.
Representative McKean, thank you for dancing down the aisle.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm not sure I'd call it dancing. Madam Chair, I move House Bill 1057 and the committee reports.
Let's start with the Appropriation Committee report. Could you please move it?
Yes, I would move the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative McKean.
Well, the Appropriations Committee report was to take care of the fees that would be collected through this process. We received a favorable recommendation from the Appropriations Committee. However, the Appropriations Committee report will not be necessary after amendment that I will propose in a second. What's that? Yeah, still have to vote on it.
Question before us, however, is the passage of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Appropriation Committee report passes. Would you like to move the Finance Committee report? Representative McKean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I would ask for a no vote on the Finance Committee report, and I'm asking that because we will be proposing an amendment in a moment, and that is an important step in the process.
Could you please move the committee report as well?
I move the Finance Committee report.
Question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
The Finance Committee report fails.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Representative McKean.
Madam Chair, I would move, and let me check on a number.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I would move Amendment L016 and have it displayed.
I move the Judiciary Report.
The Judiciary Committee report has been moved. The amendment L016 has been moved, is properly displayed. It is over 2 pages. It should be on your desk as well. Representative McKean, would you like to explain Amendment L016?
I would be delighted to explain this amendment. This amendment is the result of a lot of talk and negotiation on this bill. This bill was the subject of a lot of chatter about what exactly we're trying to do here. In the end, it's a bill about parity. It's a bill about making sure that what we do in terms of central collections, we do for people in the private market as well, but only on public debts. That is what this amendment addresses, and I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment L016? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L016. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Amendment L016 passes. Back to the Judiciary Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that amendment, I would ask for an aye vote on the Judiciary Committee report. Oh, struck it. So it's to the bill.
So let's go right on ahead to the bill.
Thank you. Madam Chair, this would be the most complicated process of amendments and reports in the world, but to the bill. As I said, this bill was about parity. It was about trying to make sure that we do not have one standard somewhere and another standard somewhere else. This equalizes the amount at a certain percentage that can be added to the collection of these public debts. It makes sure that it's the same for everyone. I would ask for an aye vote on this bill.
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I just wanted to let you know that I'm really happy with the direction this bill has taken after the amendments that Representative McKean has been working on. I was a no in the Finance Committee, and after reviewing the bill as it currently stands, I think it's a good compromise and it's a good deal, and I also ask for your support.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to clarify, because there have been a number of amendments, and some amendments were not, or committee report was not accepted for the Finance Committee, so I wanted to just kind of clarify. So what we're saying now in this bill is that these collection agencies are now able to go to the Department of Labor and get information on employer and address of that employer as well. Is that correct?
Representative McKean.
Thank you very much, Representative Rosenthal. Thank you, Madam Chair. No, actually, that's exactly what we struck. And that was the reason why this was a protracted negotiation, because of the concern of that kind of information and that kind of data being out there. So no. What this bill actually does with the amendment that we just proposed is make sure that that issue was taken off the table completely, and that what it really does is it just says that a private collector can charge the exact same amount that the state already does institutionally in collection of public debts. That is the only thing this bill does at this point.
Thank you.
Representative Kraftharp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative McKean, as you know, I had some serious concerns about this bill for a long time and kept expressing my concerns to you. I am so impressed with the work that you have done to bring all the stakeholders together to be able to work this out so that this bill really can help the people here in Colorado. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
Is there any further discussion? Representative McKean.
And I will very, very briefly, thank you, Madam Chair, just to answer that. I never like to stand here and take credit for something I didn't do. The work that was done on amending this bill was because a whole lot of people who had concerns talked to each other and got through this. I am the recipient of their work. But I will tell you what, I appreciate everybody that got together and said, here's a hill that's too tall to climb, here's what we can do. And we talk about making sausage, I think we came out with a good product, so thank you all.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just have a question of the bill sponsor as well. Representative McKean.
Representative McKean, we have a question for you. Representative Jackson, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I very much also appreciate all the work that you've been doing. And as you just stated, that what can now happen is that a private debt collector can charge the same amount as the state. Is that correct? On public debts. And can you address then what the rate of those charges might be?
Representative McKean. Representative McKean with an answer.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I wanted to make sure I had the exact thing and it wasn't at the top of mine. So right now, it cannot exceed 18%. The earlier allowance was, I think, as high as 21%. So this was a negotiated rate that was just a flat fee or a flat rate below what had currently been used by Central Collections. Absolutely.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1057? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1057 as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. House Bill 1057 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to Senate Bill 231.
Senate Bill 231 by Senators Lambert and Moreno, also representing Young, concerning task force on the transition of persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities from educational services to home and community-based services in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 231 and the committee report from Public Health Care and Human Services.
To the committee report, Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We simply added an additional representative from special education to the task force. I ask for the aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the Public Health Care and Human Services Committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a good thing I was here. I voted on my own bill. This is a very interesting bill because it actually will connect two parts of the system. It's not all the parts, but this part of when children with intellectual and developmental disabilities go through our system in K-12, they actually have an individual education plan. And we know very much what they need, but when they age out and become adults, there's a transition. And right now, that transition isn't working as well as it should. And we understand then we end up with people in the adult system that actually are unidentified, have needs that aren't being met. And this is an effort to bring both parts together, the adult system and the K-12 system, and have them better communicate so that we can actually be sure that we meet the needs of people as they age and move through the system. So I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 231? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 231. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The aye has it.
Good thing I was here.
House Bill 231 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 254.
House Bill 254 by Senator Lambert and Moreno, also representatives Young and Rankin, concerning reforms to child welfare services in connection therewith making and reducing an appropriation.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move Senate Bill 254. No committee report.
To the bill, Representative Rankin.
This is a significant piece of work thanks to huge stakeholder involvement and JBC staff Robin Smart. We thank her publicly for that. It does a number of things to reform and clean up our child welfare system. So important to so many youth who we need to do everything we can to make successful. Ask for a yes vote.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I do really want to publicly thank Ms. Smart, Robin Smart, our JBC analyst, for her hard work and all the stakeholders that came together on this bill. This is a huge change in our child welfare system, and we are confident as JBC members that this is going to have a positive impact on children and families. We ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 250, or I'm sorry, Senate Bill 254? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 254. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. House Bill 254 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title to Senate Bill 229.
Senate Bill 229 by Senator Martinez-Domenico, also representatives Ransom and McLaughlin, concerning criminal history record checks for educator preparation program students seeking field experiences in school in connection with making an appropriation.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My buddy Rep. Rankin is running over here as
Would you please move the bill, and while she walks down?
Yes, I would like to move Senate Bill 229, please.
Thank you very much. To the bill, Representative McLaughlin.
Yes, we think this is a great bill. It streamlines background checks for teachers entering the system. This helps students save money, gets them into the schools to work quicker, and lets them work in a much wider variety of districts.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Currently, when you're doing your student teaching, you need to get background checks at each individual school that you might be assigned to. So that might mean upwards of 4 or 5 different background checks, each of which need to be performed. You need to go get your fingerprints taken, et cetera. So this streamlines it. The department will get one background check done, keep it on file. This will save time and money for everybody involved, get teachers teaching and licensed and done with their schooling quicker. It has not received a no vote yet. It was unanimous out of the Senate and then unanimous out of our Education Committee. We urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 229? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 229. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Thank you. One more.
Still with no votes, Senate Bill 229 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we rise and report.
You have heard the motion. We will rise and report.
Members, while folks are coming back, we are going to, no. We are going to let, I think 3 different committees are going to meet. We will meet back here at 1:30. We will continue on with additional second readings. We will do some third readings at some point and probably some conference committees. I would not expect to be done until at least 5 p.m.
The House will come to order. Mr. Randall, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your committee whole big state report as necessary following touch bills being second there of expiring recommendations there on House Bill 1057 is amended, House Bill 1060 is amended, House Bill 1102 is amended, House Bill 1195 is amended, House Bill 1390 is amended, House Bill 1423 is amended, House Bill 1430 is amended, House Bill 1431, House Bill 1434 is amended, passed under gross plus count of 30 and final passage. Senate Bill 229, Senate Bill 231 is amended, Senate Bill 254 passed on second reading or revised, plus count of 30 and final passage. House Bill 1351 laid over until later. The day retaining its place on the calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. Representative Eskar. All right, members, you have heard the motion. There are no amendments at the desk. Mr. Randall, don't try and go draft from Minority Leader Neville. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Art, Madam Majority Leader Becker, Representative Buck, Carver, Coleman, Covarrubias, Lawrence, Ryer, and Representative Dave Williams.
Jeff Bridges said he's ready to vote on Thursday.
Representative Williams. Representative Arndt.
Crisanta, do you just want to find and excuse these guys?
Dave said he was on the way.
Madam Speaker, I pushed my button. Okay?
You push a lot of buttons.
Representative Arndt and Representative Dave Williams are excused.
$10. $10.
Where are they? Does anybody know where they're? Oh,
Dave Williams.
Representative Dave Williams has arrived. Thank you for joining us.
$10.
We had not closed the machine yet. You will be able to vote. And no, it's not working.
$15.
Okay, what is your vote, Representative Williams? Please record Representative Williams' vote as a no on the report of the Committee of the Whole. Please close the machine with 54 yes votes, 8 no votes, and 3 excuse. The report, actually, 3 excuse. The report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. And Representative Williams, that will be $15. Further announcements or introductions?
Did you announce substitutions?
I have some announcements and introductions. First off, Representative Becker, Jay Becker, will replace Representative Beckman on the Public Health Committee today only. Representative Liston will replace Representative Catlin on the Public Health Committee today only. Representative Escar will replace Representative Michelson Janae on the Public Health Committee today only. Representative Bridges will replace Representative Harrod on the Finance Committee today only. Representative Rosenthal will replace Representative Benavides on the Finance Committee today only. Representative Escar will replace Representative Hamner on the Appropriations Committee today only. And also, there will be a conference committee on Senate Bill 200. The conferees will be Madam Majority Leader Becker, Representative Pabon, and Representative Van Winkle. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, when we have a call to the House this afternoon, we will have an Appropriations Committee meeting in the well. I will announce the bills that will be heard then, because some of those have to have committees of reference reports right across the desk before I can actually refer them into the committee. So pay attention when we come back, and be ready to have an appropriations meeting.
Representative Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to say to all the Star Wars fans out there, may the 4th be with you.
Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I promise this is going to be the last time I bother you. I really want to thank you for the offer of that Rolex watch, the John Wayne Ronald Reagan edition, since I'm leaving you. But I've turned that gift down, and instead would ask that you put a little money in the Shave the Willett Beard jar back there by the water thing. Again, it goes to this great cause for childhood cancer, St. Baldrick's, and I will have my beard shaved in Grand Junction on June 23rd. And I've put in $500 of my own money. Please get it up to match that, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Members, just briefly, good economic news today of the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate, just two things, fell to 3.9%, the lowest it's been in 70 years. 164,000 new jobs were added. Thank you.
Representative Arndt, thank you so much for joining us. That'll be $15. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Since Representative Hamner told you why she was going to be gone, had a speaking engagement at Western State, I just wanted to let you know that I'm on my way to Kansas, where we're having well, actually, I'll tell you, in Attica, because I spent 13 years in Attica before I became a state legislator in Colorado. But that's the school, not the prison. We are having a 30-year reunion of the undefeated state championship football team, and they've asked me to come back as their former superintendent and radio play-by-play announcer to speak at that reunion. So that's why I'll be there. Thank you.
Further announcements or introductions? Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I request to be absent for the rest of the day, and this has been coordinated with the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader.
Okay, you are excused. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House Public Healthcare and Human Services Committee. We will be hearing two bills today upon adjournment in room 271, so don't go downstairs, just walk across the hallway. You're not going to get all your steps in for the day, I know, but just across the hallway, room 271, we're going to be hearing House Bills 1440 and Senate Bill 243, and we are going to be meeting, let's do 11:50. So we will see you at 11:50. The gavel will be coming down right away, and we will fine you if you're not there, and the fine dollars will go to Representative Willett's St. Baldrick's, 11:50, room 271. 11:50 a.m., room 271. You've been forewarned, and for every minute that you're late after 11:50, we will be helping out Representative Willett. House Bills 1440, Senate Bill 243.
Representative Lundin.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I know we're at this time of the session, we're like drinking out of a fire hose. Everybody's working as quickly as they can. The clerks are getting us information as fast as they can. I just wanted to know whether I'm all by myself or whether any of the other members have bills coming up in committee and their folders look like this. It's moving fast right now, folks. Hang in there.
All right, further announcements or introductions? Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and members of the Finance Committee. For those of you who have been reading your calendars and or following along over the course of the last few days, you know that you're not going home yet, that we have a special Finance upon Adjournment committee with a lot of great additions to the committee. We're going to hear, at least calendar today, House Bill 1424, House Bill 1428, Senate Bill 001, and Senate Bill 109. And then we will allow any additional bills that have been referred but haven't been announced yet into the Finance Committee, and or anything that I may have left out just out of this announcement generally. We'll see you there in 15 minutes.
All right, we do have one report to read across the desk. It looks like another announcement. Representative Hooton and Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you.
Members, would you like me to get their attention?
No. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I just would like to remind everyone that this upcoming Memorial Day weekend will be the 40th anniversary of the Boulder. And we rank in the top 5 10K races in the country. We have about 50,000 people that participate. We forecast that it's going to be a spectacular weekend, and we invite you all to join us in Boulder. Bring your running shoes, walk, jog, or run with us for 10Ks. We end up in Coors Field, and it's really a great time. And we have free samples of everything that Boulder is known for, including kombucha. So please join us.
Yeah. Members, it's super fun. Hope you can join us. If I see you there, I promise to buy you a beer or Gatorade or like a bagel if that's what you want.
Exactly.
Aw, that's
Or
so
a bobo
nice.
bar.
All right. Any further announcements or introductions? Going once, going twice. Seeing no further announcements or introductions, maybe we just stand in recess until later today, right after this report of committee of reference that will be very fast that Mr. Rendell's going to read across the desk.
Committee on Judiciary Officers, the merit is following Senate Bill 109 be amended as follows, and also amended to be put to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rendell. Short and sweet. Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess till later today.
All right. Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.